Joel Freeman. Oh my goodness, what a gentleman. What an amazing, get this now, what an amazing mind and spirit that he has. And you'll do well to pick up. I mean, he has spoken for some of the top companies. And I'm telling you, the raving reviews he has as a speaker and his latest project where they're actually going to do something, you know, Black Lives Matter and so forth. No, he's going to do something where they're developing a curriculum that's actually going to be going and taught in the schools across the country that can change all that. And so, again, Dr. Joel Freeman, man, we just appreciate you with Freeman Institute and all the different things you do, speaker. I mean, just an incredible all-around great guy who loves the Lord and loves people, and learned so much from him through the years. And you're going to hear him again. The right list, because remember, note takers are money makers, and the weakest ink is stronger than the strongest memory. Dr. Joel Freeman.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank
Harris. Really appreciate the kind words. Like I said yesterday, I call that the resume obituary type stuff. And I'm just delighted to be with you and the rest of the wild and crazy bunch on the call today. Just wanted to mention real quickly about the curriculum that you discussed. Myself and another gentleman who was a school superintendent for 12 years. He also was a high school principal and a social studies teacher, Dr. Walter Milton, lives in Nashville now. He and I are co-writing a K through 12 Black History curriculum called Black History 365, K through 12. So it's K through 2, 3 through 5, 6 through 8, 9 through 12, and eventually we're going to have something for community colleges. And it's 10 units, covers from ancient Africa all the way up to now. And as you mentioned, I think yesterday, I have a pretty huge Black history collection. And so we'll be using those pieces from 1553 all the way up to modern times. We're going to be using those as illustrations and being able to bring that together. And our goal is to have it out by the fall of 2019. And we're well on our way. We've already started meeting with superintendents. There's about 15,000 superintendents around the country, school districts, and we're now just doing a national tour meeting with them. So you can be praying about all that. It is a game changer. It's very exciting. And this morning I wanted to talk a little bit about something that I did a national tour for Job Corps a few years back, where I spoke to groups of young people, 17 to 19, generally speaking. So most of the time, somewhere between 350 to 600 young people in front of me in Oklahoma, on the West Coast, East Coast, South. It was really quite an experience. And because I worked with the Washington Bullets, the Wizards, I was able to I did that for 20 seasons. I was able to talk with them about some different aspects because I would ask them in the very beginning of my talk, which was called Connecting Now with Later, is the whole idea of what are you doing now that's planting the seeds to what you want to, where you want to be X number of years from now. And so what I'd do is I'd start off and I'd say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And of course, everyone would come up with, I want to be an NBA player, WNBA, rap star, rock star, scientist, mathematician, whatever it might be. And so no judgment. And then I would reframe the question. I'd say, okay, you probably didn't hear what I said, but the question I asked is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Everything you're telling me is what you want to do. And so I began to then go into the whole concept of making the cut. C-U-T, which is the C stands for character, the U stands for understanding, and the T stands for technology, for talent. and how a person had the skills set that a person has. Now, the thing about it is that our culture tends to magnify the talent side, even in sports. You can now, with 24/7 cable, when a kid hits about 11, 12, 13, they're already all over local cable. And you have Nike and Adidas and shoe companies coming after them to give them free shoes, to let them know, hey, if you happen to be one of the lucky ones to hit the big times, don't forget us. We'd like to have you possibility with a shoe contract. And you have so many people surrounding them because of their talent. And I really want to say this, that talent is very important. When I speak, most of the people who are in front of me are talented people. They wouldn't be there if they weren't. And so I kind of take that as a given that people are going to be talented. But the thing is, and I speak this comes from a negative standpoint in this regard. It's talent that skills get us hired, but behavior gets us fired. Now, from a positive standpoint, skills get us hired, but it's behavior that can get us higher in an organization. And so it's the whole idea of seeing how behavior can become an expression of our character. And in between, there's understanding. The big thing about character is that's what we want to be. And I think that any one of us at any time can start to snap the finger and say, this is what I'm going to be. And that's what I used to say to the young people when I was on the Job Corps tour around the country, is you can right now, you can be forgiving, be kind, be loving, be caring, be a person of character, be a person of your word. You can be a person that extends yourself in dedication to other people. And that's what it's all about, because what you do, that's the skills and talent. That'll take you all kinds of places. That'll take care of itself, generally speaking. But it's what you want to be. That's what it's all about in life, I believe. And there was a gentleman who I think he still is the president of Raytheon. He wrote a list of rules, unwritten rules, he called them, even though he wrote them up. And one of them was the waiter rule, and in that he might be doing a big deal, a multi-million-dollar deal with a company. But one of the things that he would do in his rules is that he would take that person, the head of that company, out for dinner. And then he'd watch how that person handled the help. And if they were demanding, demeaning, they're someone that was just making comments behind the scenes when that person left, grumbling about that person, he said that he would never do a deal with that person because of the way they handled the help. And it didn't matter how much money they lost in the process. His conviction was that we are going to do business with people of character. And that, I think, is really quite a telling situation when it comes to character and talent. Now, in between character and talent, there's understanding. And I believe that understanding is something that is so important in our lives. And it's a wide range. Now, of course, for anyone who is a lover of the Bible, the Scriptures, understanding, we know, like Solomon said in the book of Proverbs, get wisdom, but in all you're getting, get understanding. And understanding is, I believe, something that it comes through experience. And we begin to realize that I think that one of the big things about understanding is reading. There's just, when I meet someone who says that they're not a reader, I actually feel pity for them, because they're a person that is not expanding their minds. Because when we read, and I think it's important to sharpen iron, is to, when talking with someone who's on the uplift team, every once in a while just say, what are you reading? What are you reading? And to challenge each other to be a group of readers. And it could be reading about travel. It could be reading about some new invention. It could be reading about history. It could be reading about whatever it might be. I personally am not much of a reader of fiction. The only time I read fiction is to understand dialogue, because 80% of fiction is dialogue. And I help to use that to sharpen my writing skills. But I love nonfiction, and I love taking a ride with let's say Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, and to be able to understand the interplay between these two gentlemen back in a time when the Civil War was being fought, and to understand the way these two giants interacted, how they pushed each other and pulled each other. And so it just, the whole idea of reading, I think, is so important to gain understanding. This is something anybody can do. It doesn't take any special skills or none of that's required. The second thing with developing understanding is writing. And I already alluded to that a little bit about I read nonfiction or read fiction to understand better how to write dialogue. But writing is so important. And I know that we all are sending texts and emails, and sometimes we have a disclaimer at the end of each text or each email. I might misspell words. I might have said this in passing, and I didn't say it just right. But the thing is to learn the art of writing, because it's all about proposals, and people judge us by the way we write. And if we use double negatives and prepositional endings and those types of things in our writing, it can come across in a way to someone who is on the other side. They might say, well, I give this proposal a 70% discount because of the way they wrote this. They might not say that, articulate it that way out loud, but inside, especially if there's competition, and there's 10 other people vying for the same position or the same opportunity, they will discount the one that is not written properly. And so it's sharpening the writing skills, and maybe even starting with your own personal story. If you've never written a book or a booklet, I encourage everyone here to think about where is your counsel and demand. I use writing as a time management skill. I wrote a book called If Nobody Loves You, Create the Demand. It's all about the entrepreneurial journey. Why did I write that? It's because every week I was getting calls from people who had invention ideas, who had a business idea, and they would run it by me, and I'd end up spending, because I love giving my time to people who are excited about that kind of stuff. I'd give an hour, hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. And I found myself sharing some of the same basic principles with everybody. And so one morning I woke up and it's just like, I know I've got to write this down. And so I ended up writing this book and then a workbook, and it became something that now, it just, when people call me now, I just say, well, I've got this book. I want you to read it. And by this way, that's my crap detector. Determine if I'm really spending my time wisely with this person. I say, acquire this book, and then that's my first test. How are they going to acquire this book? And secondly, will they read it? It's about a 4-hour read. If they're really serious, then they call me back. I don't have to go through the hour, hour and a half, 2 hours maybe, to go through the basic information. And now we can now immediately drill down to that which is germane to their specific situation. And we're speaking from the same sheet of music, so to speak. And so I would say that even if you don't write a book or a booklet about these things, but I think it's important, first of all, for you to know where your counsel is in demand. When people come to you, what are some of the main questions people ask of you? Make a list of those, and then it might be a blog that you write that you can send someone to. You might even do a web page about that. I have something called truthcentrism.com, because I'm a white guy from Canada who has this Black History collection and writing things about Black history. I get a lot of calls from people with all kinds of sometimes wacky ideas. Some people want to challenge me, and so what I do is before we talk, I have them go to the website truthcentrism.com. Truth, Truth, centrism, CENTRISM, just like Afrocentrism, Eurocentrism, except just truth centrism. And that's my gift to the educational community. Now, well over 500,000 people, scholars, educators. I've had Eurocentrists, Afrocentrists go there. It's my gift to the educational community so that it brings more light than heat to the topic of, let's say, ancient Greek history or whatever. And so it's the whole idea of sending people that. Then, once they've read that, then I'm open to talk with them. Once again, my crap detector to see if they're just wasting my time or not. And another thing is public speaking. I know I've got 3 minutes left, but I'll just say this, that it's important for everyone here on this call, to brush up, go from A to A+ on your public speaking skills, and to maybe go to Toastmasters. Spend the time, because wherever you go, wherever we go, it's all about presenting in writing and speaking. And then fourthly, in terms of understanding, is keeping up with technology, so that we can be people that speak the language of this of the generation, and that we know what's going on in terms of AI, artificial intelligence. We understand the signs of the time, those types of things. So those are some of the things that I really want to encourage everyone here to make the cut, to be aware of your character. What are you being today, and how you express that. And then we get into technology and everything else in terms of understanding, and then talent, to celebrate the skills that God has given you and increase those skills, sharpen them, but at the same time to be a person that makes the cut and becomes a person of high integrity, high quality, so that you can impact the people around you. They don't have their eyes on you, but they have their eyes on Jesus. And that's what it's all about, is making sure there's no celebrity in the transaction. Whatever you give as unto the Lord. Whatever you receive as from the Lord, and that we don't get caught up in the middle of that. Dr. Breakthrough?
Wow. Sounds like when John the Baptist, he just said, "I'm just a voice." Come on, somebody. And man, thank you very much, Doctor. That powerful, folks. Did you get that? What do you want to be when you grow up? Not what do you want to do. And then skills can get you hired, behavior can get you fired, or the right behavior can get you higher. That's incredible. So, folks, thank you. Here at Uplift, we plan on you making the cut. So we talk about your character, and again, just like you said, do business with people with character. And that's what I love about Pastor Kenny Smith and about the group here, the leadership. You folks have been just so faithful on these leadership calls. And then, like you said, the understanding and we always are reading. What I'm reading right now, by the way, for the fourth time is Myron Golden, From the Cash Man to the Trash Man. I mean, as you know, I led Myron to Christ years ago, and he was one of my students in martial arts. And I've read the book several times, but reading it again because I'm writing another book called Your Financial Breakthrough is Almost Guaranteed. And so, and also got another book that I've been reading here, Great Women in American History as well. But anyway, like I said, just reading, always have something with you to be reading. And like I said, check out that website, truthcentrism.com. I've been there several times, and then your talent. And so, man, powerful. Again, folks, like we say, we don't just want you to take notes. More important than taking notes is the action you take on the notes that you took. So take good notes, but then more importantly, take action. Doc, again, I appreciate that, and guess how to contact you. What's your best website where people can get information on you?
Well, I think today, we're putting together a final group to Israel for the spring, and if anyone goes to israelcrazy.com, they'll bump into my my contact information. That's israelcrazy.com. What's cool about this trip is that we had a large group that at the last minute couldn't make it, So we're going to have a much smaller group on this trip, which means that it's a great benefit. It's rare to do this, rare to have this, and we're able to be more nimble and go a lot more places and to better understand not only the land of the Bible, but also your own Bible reading. It'll literally make the scriptures come alive. When I went there back, I guess 39, 40 years ago or so, I can't remember how many years ago, but the only regret I had is that I hadn't gone sooner. And if you're a pastor, if you're a lay leader, wherever you're doing in life, a trip to Israel is not just a bucket list, it's a must list. It's something you've got to do, and it will have a transformational impact on your life. And so I'm an evangelist of going to Israel. Whether you go with me or somebody else, it doesn't matter to me. Just get to Israel and understand the scriptures like never before.
I can testify out of all the scripture reading, memorization, studying, nothing compares to when you go to Israel. So again, thank you. Folks, check out IsraelCrazy.com. Again, Dr. Freeman, thank you very much. We're over our time.